I want to talk about types of donors from the perspective of how much information you have about them. So there is the option, it is becoming more common for a known donor. So if you have a family member or you have a friend who is willing to donate to you, that's something you can explore with your local clinic. And the advantages of that is that you know them, you have that constant medical history, and that the child can also get to know them and form a relationship with them. Although that can come with its own difficulties if you're still grieving the loss of genetics. The other option, which is the law in the UK, is to have a donor that is open ID at 18. So that means that you will get information about the donor that is non-identifying, and it can vary the level of information you get by the clinic you use. But that also gives the child the option to find out about the identity of the donor at the age of 18. And the other option is anonymous donation. So some people decide to go abroad. This isn't legal in the UK, but other countries such as Spain, Greece, the Czech Republic are quite common for donor treatment. And over there, the laws is that the donor is totally anonymous. So you have a basic criteria and information about that donor. But what that does mean is that the child won't have that option to contact them when they're older. And I think deciding on your type of donor is actually one of the first questions that you should really be considering. And it can be a really scary one, particularly in those early days. And I know from my own experience, we went through this 6 years ago, and there wasn't that much information out there. And for a variety of reasons, we decided to go abroad. It worked for us in terms of timescales, it worked in terms of cost. And if I'm really honest, at the time, the thought of having a donor that I didn't know much about, having sort of thickened the grief of my own genetic loss, I felt more comfortable with. Yet now I've shifted on that. And I'm in a position now, and I share my reflections, where I do wish I had more information about her. And I really wish that if our girls wanted to know more about her, I could give them that information. And that's through a variety of things. I think becoming more comfortable in my role as their mum, and knowing that what we have cannot be replaced is a big part of it. But also hearing the experiences of people who are donor conceived themselves, who do wish to know half of their genetics and where that came from. And I've heard those voices, and I understand that actually most of the time they just want to know a little bit more about where they get certain features from or certain characteristics, not necessarily to form a relationship with them or to have another parent in their lives. And many donor conceived people believe that they have the right to know that information. So I just think it's a really important thing to consider at the very beginning. And there can be many different factors that are pulling you in different directions on what type of donor to use. But I would encourage you to maybe put yourself into the future a little bit, which can be really hard to do when you're so focused on having a baby. But think about having those conversations with your child who's coming up to sort of age 10, 11, 12, and they start asking you, so why can't I know more about this person? And I want to know about this. And they become more curious. What level of information do you want to provide to them? And I would definitely say it's worth really working through and talking with a counsellor about what is the right decision for you and your family, because it will form part of that narrative as to what you're going to give to your children.